My name is Lucas Harper, and I found myself in the enchanting embrace of Paris during the sultry summer of 2023, at the age of 40. This city of light had always woven itself into the fabric of my dreams, its ancient cobblestone streets unfurling along the Seine like delicate threads of an intricate tapestry, steeped in history and whispers of the past. The Eiffel Tower rose majestically above the skyline, a timeless emblem of enduring romance and dreams yet to be fulfilled, its iron lattice glimmering under the sun's golden rays. The air was alive with a symphony of scents, warm, flaky croissants fresh from the oven, the intoxicating perfume of blooming jasmine, swirling gently on the breeze, and the subtle, earthy fragrance of the riverbanks, kissed by the water. After leaving the frenetic pace of New York 5 years prior, I had embraced a different rhythm. I traded the relentless corporate hustle for a simpler, quieter existence as an electronics repairman in a charmingly cluttered shop tucked away near the vibrant Marais district. In this cozy haven, surrounded by a chaotic yet comforting array of old radios, flickering lamps, and smartphones begging for a second chance, I found solace. Each repair became a cherished ritual, an art of mending not only gadgets but also the fragile pieces of my own life, hoping to weave my own narrative anew amidst the bustling heartbeat of Paris. At 40, I bore the heavy burden of regrets that clung to me like shadows. My marriage, once vibrant and full of promise, had withered into a silence so profound that it echoed in the corners of my heart. Dreams of adventure, which once danced like sunlight across my mind, had slowly succumbed to the monotony of routine, each day blending into the next. In a city renowned for its romance, I found myself enveloped in a deepening solitude that felt almost palpable. Paris, my cherished refuge, acted as both sanctuary and mirror, reflecting the emptiness I had desperately tried to overlook. My evenings unfolded in the modest confines of my small apartment, where the gentle glow from the window revealed a courtyard alive with couples exchanging sweet whispers and laughter. Meanwhile, I occupied myself with the mechanical intricacies of circuits, huddled under the embrace of a desk lamp that cast my workspace in a warm, focused light. The soft buzz of my tools created a subtle symphony, a soundtrack underscoring my isolation, while the world outside continued to pulse with life and love, reminding me of what I longed for yet felt utterly distant. The evening air hung heavy with humidity, wrapping around me like a warm, damp blanket as I stepped into the jazz club nestled in the heart of Saint-Germain-des-Prés. The atmosphere was alive with the intoxicating, melancholic wail of a saxophone, its notes swirling through the room like whispers of longing. Golden lights danced playfully across the faces of the patrons, all lost in their own reveries, caught up in the enchanting embrace of the music. I had just escaped a long, grueling day of tinkering with stubborn circuit boards, my hands still bearing the stubborn marks of grease and toil. Seeking refuge in this dimly lit sanctuary, I hoped for a fleeting moment of distraction from my thoughts. And then she entered. Elodie, a vision that seemed to step right out of the pages of a beautifully bound novel. Her auburn hair shimmered like spun copper under the soft glow of the lights, and her red dress flowed around her like water, accentuating the grace in her every movement. As she wove her way through the crowd, laughter bubbled from her lips, rich and melodic, mingling with the music in a way that pulled at my heartstrings. Her gaze, when it finally met mine, was like a spark igniting a long-buried ember within me, a feeling of recognition that sent waves of warmth coursing through my veins. In that fleeting moment, all the noise around me dissolved into a muffled haze, and I found myself ensnared in the magic of her presence, feeling alive in a way I had almost forgotten was possible. I hadn't planned on approaching her, yet as I caught sight of her standing elegantly alone, her gaze sweeping the room with that enigmatic smile playing on her lips, I found myself captivated. "You're not from around here," she said, her voice a soothing melody, a delicate blend of French cadence perfectly laced with flawless English. "American, right?" I nodded, suddenly aware of my worn jeans and flannel shirt, my calloused hands betraying my humble background in repair work. Lucas, I introduced myself, and she extended her hand, her touch warm and lingering, sending a gentle shiver down my spine. Elodie, what brings you to this lively side of Paris? As the night unfolded, we shared stories that flowed effortlessly, her questions peeling back layers of my past like the delicate petals of a flower. I recounted the divorce that had left my heart in pieces, the trust I had once held so dearly shattered. In return, she painted a vibrant picture of her life as an event planner for art galleries, each day a whirlwind of exhibitions and mingling with the city's most glamorous socialites. Beneath her laughter, I sensed a hint of vulnerability, a shared longing for something more, for a deeper connection. As the night gently faded, and the vibrant pulse of the club began to wane, we emerged into the crisp, refreshing Parisian air. The city's myriad lights flickered like distant stars, their reflections dancing in her eyes with a brilliance that left me momentarily breathless. Suddenly, in that enchanting twilight, she leaned in and kissed me, a soft, delicate brush of her lips against mine. It was a fleeting encounter, yet it ignited a warmth deep within me, a glowing spark that chased away the shadows and illuminated the corners of my soul that had long been cloaked in darkness. Our first date unfolded the next day with a picturesque walk along the Seine, as the sun descended toward the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the water and bathing the sky in vibrant hues of orange and soft pink. As we strolled hand in hand, the gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers and fresh baguettes, creating a symphony of sensations. We passed charming bookstalls brimming with well-loved volumes, and artists diligently sketching the romantic scenery, their focused expressions capturing the essence of Paris. Her voice, melodic and captivating, wove tales of her life, each story a brushstroke painting vivid images in my mind. Paris is full of magic if you let it in, she said, her fingers tangling gracefully with mine, as if the city's enchantment seeped into our connection. I found myself opening up about my work, describing how repairing electronics was more than a mere job. It was a tapestry of memories and experiences, piecing together fragments of a past much like the intricate puzzle I was trying to solve with my own heart. She listened intently, her sparkling eyes brimming with understanding and warmth, never straying from mine. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of wholeness. We shared laughter that echoed through the air, delighting in the city's delightful quirks, the judgmental glances from waiters when I stumbled over French phrases, and the thrill of crowded metro rides that felt like daring escapades through the underground labyrinth. Together we dared to dream of adventures beyond the elegant boulevards, envisioning distant landscapes and unfamiliar cultures. Yet beneath the surface of our blossoming connection, shadows lingered, subtle but unsettling. She would occasionally mention an ex, Antoine, her tone tinged with irritation, framing him as a specter from her past who couldn't bear to let go. "He's jealous of anyone I care about," she said, attempting to brush off the discomfort with a teasing kiss, but the words planted a seed of doubt in my mind that I struggled to ignore. As the scorching summer sun surrendered to the crisp embrace of autumn, our relationship flourished into something profound, a vivid tapestry of emotions woven among the swirling amber leaves. We navigated the city, treating it like our private sanctuary, afternoons spent in Luxembourg Gardens, sprawled on a soft plaid blanket, gazing up at drifting clouds. With her head nestled on my shoulder, she unveiled the stories of her childhood, a poignant tale of rebellion against the rigidity of her upbringing, a rebellion that found solace in the arts. I shared my own deep-seated scars, recounting how my marriage fractured under the unsaid burdens of unexpressed feelings, and she would cradle me gently, her touch radiating warmth, a quiet promise that healing was possible. Every evening in her Marais apartment was charged with an undeniable energy. We would whip up humble yet flavorful meals, laughing until tears brimmed in our eyes, our conversations flowing like fine wine, unhurried and delightful. The sound of her laughter danced around the room, a melody that echoed off the sunlit walls. She would idly trace intricate patterns on my palm, her fingers delicate and purposeful, revealing her hidden fears of committing to a single path, a life marked by a series of ephemeral connections that left her yearning for something more. I fell for her with an intensity that blinded me to the warning signs, the way she'd withdraw emotionally before significant events, or how her phone would flicker to life with incoming messages that she'd hastily stow away from my view. One evening, following an especially fervent night of passion that left our hearts racing and our spirits entwined, I could no longer quell the tempest of curiosity bubbling within me. Is he still in the picture? I cautiously ventured, the air thick with unspoken tension, a heavy silence enveloping us like a thick fog. Her response was a heavy pause, her eyes darkening with an ominous weight, akin to a storm cloud gathering at dusk. He's trying to win me back, she confessed, her voice barely breaking through the stillness, a mere whisper laden with unacknowledged feelings. But you're different, Lucas. With you I feel real. As winter approached, the chill in the air mirrored the growing doubts in my heart. Our bond was continually tested by the biting wind sweeping off the Seine, a river that bore witness to our highs and lows. Arguments became a frequent companion, her cancellations fueling my restlessness. Nights spent staring at the ceiling, as I imagined the unspoken words hanging between us. Oftentimes, I'd catch her on the phone, her tone sharp and possessive, every syllable adding to the weight of my unease. He's just being difficult, she'd say, but the words dripped with a sense of denial that felt painful to accept. Yet the vibrant romance continued to draw me deeper into its alluring depths. We'd escape to Montmartre, where the streets were alive with laughter, and the melodies of street performers danced around us, her hand firmly clasped in mine, as we weaved through the throngs of people. Or in quieter moments, we'd retreat to my workshop, surrounded by the comforting scent of wood varnish and old radio parts, where she would watch me intently as I repaired a vintage radio, her presence transforming the mundane task into something special. I even made the decision to let go of a side gig, convinced that the foundation we were building together was solid and lasting. Yet amidst the tender moments, an unsettling whisper lingered in the back of my mind, a constant reminder of the uncertainty that shadowed our connection. The truth unraveled like a delicate thread in November, during a luminous gallery opening she had meticulously planned. The atmosphere buzzed with the chatter of art enthusiasts and the clinking of wine glasses, but amidst the elegance, I was drawn to her. Standing with Antoine, their interaction crackled with a tension that felt both electric and familiar, a silent conversation shadowed by unspoken words. Later that evening, as the city of light shimmered outside her apartment windows, we sank into the warmth of her cozy living room, surrounded by flickering candles and the soft glow of street lights. Over a glass of rich red wine, she revealed her truth, her voice trembling with emotion. I was using you to make him jealous, she confessed, tears spilling down her cheeks like fragile raindrops. I thought it would push him away for good. Her words struck me like a tempest, sweeping away the vibrant lights of the city and leaving a chilling darkness in their wake. The moment felt surreal, as if time had paused, and the weight of her revelation pressed heavily on my heart. A short while after, she departed, leaving an unsettling emptiness in her wake. By the end of 2023, I was left grappling with the haunting echoes of what might have been, a poignant lesson in the fragility of love, scattered like withered leaves in an autumn breeze. My name is Alexandre Duval, and this is Paris in the sultry embrace of summer 2023. When I was 35 years old, Paris has always been a captivating paradox for me. A city drenched in golden light yet cloaked in shadows as profound as the depths of the Seine. Each winding street thrummed with vibrant life, while at the same time they silently echoed the loneliness that often accompanies dreams. The cobblestones along the Seine, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, carried not just the weight of history, but the laughter, betrayal, love, and heartbreak of countless souls who have wandered these paths before me. The Eiffel Tower loomed gracefully above, a colossal metallic guardian standing resolute against the backdrop of a lavender-tinged sky, keeping watch over the stories that unfolded beneath its towering form. A waft of freshly baked croissants intertwined with the perfume of blooming lilacs and the earthy, damp scent of the river, creating an intoxicating aroma that seemed to tell tales of indulgence and nostalgia. 8 years prior, I had left the verdant fields of a small town in the French countryside, seeking a fresh start in this bustling metropolis. I arrived with the hope of shedding the weight of a patchwork existence of odd jobs and abandoned dreams that had clung to me like autumn fog. In this city of contrasts, I yearned to find my place amidst the tapestry of life that thrived around me. In those earlier days, my life resembled a rhythm devoid of melody, a series of disjointed beats that never synced with the essence of who I was. It was almost by happenstance that I found my way into the world of DJing. A friend had lent me his pair of turntables during a particularly vibrant house party, and the moment the first track surged through the speakers, I was struck by a pulse I hadn't known existed. It was as if the music unearthed a hidden part of me, a refuge where I could express what words failed to convey. Each beat became a way to navigate the chaos surrounding me, as I surrendered myself to the throbbing energy of the crowd. By the time I turned 35, I had carved out a unique identity within the underground Parisian club scene, as DJ Duval, a name whispered among enthusiasts, synonymous with an uncanny ability to feel the heartbeat of a room before anyone else could. I could coax emotions from the kaleidoscope of neon lights and powerful bass lines, mirroring the joy and turmoil etched on the faces of strangers who lost themselves in the rhythm. Yet, despite the pulsating nights spent spinning tracks in crowded clubs, surrounded by the intoxicating allure of glamour and the roar of applause, an empty space remained unfulfilled within me, a void that no amount of flashing lights or euphoric energy could ever seem to fill. Paris possessed a harsh knack for magnifying the sensation of loneliness, even amidst the vibrant tapestry of its bustling scene. In the lively bars of Le Marais, buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses, or at rooftop soirees that overlooked the shimmering Seine, I found myself encircled by throngs of animated faces, yet the hollow resonance of my past lingered unshakable and haunting. Each high school heartbreak replayed in my mind, like a bittersweet symphony, while fleeting romances, brief sparks of connection, flickered out, leaving only the remnants of unearthed emotions. Time-worn friendships, once vibrant and lively, had now faded into mere shadows of memory, leaving a lingering residue I could never seem to scrub away. And then, looming larger than all the rest, was the enigmatic figure of Elena Blanchard. I first laid eyes on her one balmy June evening at a vibrant street festival nestled near the illustrious Eiffel Tower. The sun was slowly sinking below the horizon, painting the Seine in shimmering shades of molten gold, as I savored a rare reprieve from my usual routine. Having spent the afternoon immersed in mixing tracks for a wedding reception, I found myself meandering aimlessly through the festive atmosphere. The air buzzed with a symphony of laughter, the melodic sounds of street performers and vendors energetically hawking their sizzling delicacies that wafted enticingly through the crowd. That's when I caught sight of her, positioned gracefully near the tower's majestic base, her sketchbook cradled in her hands like a treasure. Her blonde hair fluttered softly in the evening breeze, illuminated by the last warm rays of sunlight casting a halo around her. My heart tightened, caught in a vice of nostalgia and longing. Elena, a name that once echoed with echoes of teenage fervor, a love that burned brightly yet briefly, now stood before me in the romantic heart of Paris. In that single breathtaking moment, my past collided with my present, igniting a rush of emotions I thought I had buried long ago. Elena, I said, voice trembling just slightly. She looked up, eyes widening, and then a smile, recognition and warmth in equal measure spread across her face. Alexandre, I can't believe it. We sat on a stone bench recounting years lost to time. She had moved to Paris 5 years ago, pursuing her dream as a translator, drawn by the art and culture of the city. I shared my story as a DJ, the thrill of nights when I commanded a crowd, the quiet solitude that followed when the music died. Somehow, talking to her felt like coming home. Our first date followed the next week. I took her to the Luxembourg Gardens, the sunlight dappling the manicured lawns as we walked. She took my hand, and I felt a connection deeper than I had imagined possible. Elena shared her struggles, the relationships that had crumbled, the subtle pressures of her past life, and I confessed my own, the nights alone in my studio, the constant chase for validation in music, the echoes of regret that haunted every beat I played. By the end of that afternoon, the Paris air seemed infused with possibility, our laughter mingling with the rustling leaves and distant fountains. Summer unfolded like a melody. We were inseparable, exploring art galleries, dancing at small underground clubs, lingering in cafes until the city slept. I taught her to read a room, to feel the rhythm that pulsed beneath Paris streets, and she showed me the subtle beauty in art, literature, and life's quiet moments. Music became our language. On nights when I played in crowded clubs, her eyes would find mine across the crowd, and I would spin not just for strangers but for her. Each beat I dropped carried a message only she could understand, and for a time it felt like nothing could break the spell. Yet beneath the ecstasy, subtle doubts crept in. Elena spoke of old friends, her tone sometimes edged with defensiveness, and once I overheard a whispered conversation that pricked at my insecurities. "He's just a friend from high school," she said, though her voice wavered. I pushed the thought aside, unwilling to taint our newfound joy with suspicion. Music had taught me that silence between notes could be as powerful as sound, but in matters of the heart, silence often meant deception. By autumn I introduced her to my circle at a jazz bar in the Latin Quarter, friends who were musicians, painters, and fellow dreamers. They saw her effect on me, the way my usually measured demeanor softened, how my eyes lit up like the decks I spun under neon lights. Yet one friend lingered after, cautioning me, "Don't ignore the red flags, Alexandre. She's charming, but charm can mask a storm." I nodded, dismissing the warning as unnecessary pessimism. Storms, however, have a way of arriving uninvited, leaving chaos in their wake. One rainy November night, as sheets of rain battered the gallery's windows, I played a gig that should have felt vibrant and alive. Instead, the atmosphere felt electric with tension. Among the sea of faces, my eyes landed on her, draped in a soft, shimmering dress that caught the faint light. She laughed intimately with Thierry, the charismatic high school soccer star, who had once captured her heart. Their shared laughter rang out amidst the music, a stark contrast to the haunting melodies I was producing. The rhythm that usually anchored me turned into a distant echo, leaving me feeling adrift and hollow. When the final chords faded, and the event dimmed into a quiet hum, I found myself face to face with her, my heart racing. It was then that she confessed everything, her voice barely above a whisper, as she revealed the tangled web of lies, the playful games she indulged in, and the undeniable pull of her past that haunted her like a shadow. The weight of her words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating, leaving me to grapple with the chaotic storm that had suddenly engulfed us both. I meandered through the rain-drenched streets of Paris that night, the cold droplets soaking my coat as if the sky itself shared in my sorrow. The distant thrum of music from nearby clubs spilled out like fleeting whispers, intertwining with the emptiness of the cobbled paths. The city of lights, usually vibrant and alive, felt achingly distant and unfeeling, each lamppost standing like a stoic sentinel, silently bearing witness to my heartache. I found myself replaying fragments of our summer together, each memory vivid and bittersweet. The electrifying moment of our first touch in the sun-dappled Luxembourg gardens, the carefree nights spent twirling under the stars in Montmartre, and those tranquil mornings adorned with the rich aromatic embrace of espresso. I remembered the way she had gazed at me, eyes glimmering with what I had dared to believe was love. Now my studio, once a haven of creativity and warmth, had morphed into a confining cage, its walls echoing with the haunting memories of laughter and shared beats. The turntables, still and unyielding, mocked me, reverberating with the ghost of moments we had lost, a constant reminder of what once was and what could never be again. For weeks I could not mix, could not touch the decks without a shadow creeping over every track. Music had been my refuge. Now it was a reminder of absence. I spent nights wandering Paris alone, tracing familiar streets, the Eiffel Tower flickering above, a silent monument to dreams that crumble. Friends tried to console me, but words were weak against the memory of her smile, her laughter, and the cruel revelation of her deception. Yet even heartbreak carries lessons. Slowly I returned to the studio, tentative at first, then with intensity. I realized that life, like music, moves in waves, peaks of joy, valleys of pain, notes of beauty intertwined with silence. My sets began to shift, infused with emotion I had once suppressed. Patrons said my music had grown richer, deeper, resonating with a truth they could feel but not name. Heartbreak had become a new instrument in my repertoire, a melody forged in loss and resilience. By spring 2024, I was spinning in the same clubs, the city now a canvas for a man who had loved and lost, but was still capable of feeling. Elena remained a shadow of memory, a reminder that some connections are not meant to last, but some lessons echo forever. Paris, ever paradoxical, had taught me that love could lift and shatter, and that the music, the beat that moves through nights and souls, always waits for the next note, the next heart ready to dance. And so I played, night after night, letting the city hear my sorrow, my hope, my survival. Each track a heartbeat that refused to stop, each set a confession that life, even after betrayal, still held rhythm, beauty, and the possibility of new beginnings.